Ba-dum-bum. Welcome to the episode today, guys. It's the Irish Fantasy Punts with you again. We're here to break down every single bit of NFL news that happened yesterday, and there was a lot of it that just occurred drip by drip all day long. Welcome in the co-hosts again, Jamie and Shane. How are the boys?
Not so bad, Dan. How are you?
All good here today, Dan boy. It was snowing.
Was it snowing down that way, was it?
Oh man, it was snowing heavy.
I had no snow here. Just pissing rain.
Yeah, same as me. It was just lashing rain all day. It's great Irish weather, just constant rain and freezing cold.
And it was savage coming home this evening. Then sun was savage. No, what's going on in this country?
Just sunny enough that you can think, I might go for a jog, and then no.
Nah.
we just had snow all day. It was raining in the morning, so I didn't even think it would land. And then it just started snowing, and it got so heavy it started landing. I'd say, like even on my window that I'm looking at right now, there's about 2 inches of snow on the window.
Weird.
That's a lot of snow.
That's the good tip ecosystem. Yeah.
It's not even tip. It's just Clonmel.
Just Anders.
I think Clonmel and out as far as Mullinahone got it. That was it.
No, it's in Tiptown too.
Is it up in Tiptown as well? Was it?
It was up in Tiptown as well. Yeah.
Tiptown, the best town, aye.
Tiptown guy. Huh?
Once we're finished our weather podcast, we'll move on to the NFL news today because not today's news. Today's news has been a bit lackluster compared to yesterday. Yesterday really smacked everyone in the face and kind of caught everyone in bits. I know our friends from the Under Center podcast actually had to do an emergency episode for all the Seahawks fans who were just like had a nuclear bomb go off. It was like Chernobyl, like for those boys.
Wait, what happened yesterday?
Not a whole pile, just one or two news segments.
I got a lot of Tom Hanks references yesterday. I was wondering what all that was about.
All the Wilson Prize.
Yeah.
I love that from the Seahawks that they put that up. But we're divulging all this information already that nobody who has listened to this podcast has heard yet. We're breaking this news, so we'll start from the start. All right. So if we were to go, we'll start nice and easy here. The Browns tagged David Njoku. We were discussing this before we came on air, and none of us really know why this happened. The Browns are now on the line to pay David Njoku $11.5 million on the franchise tag. It makes no sense to me, and Shane, I think you pretty much agree with me on this.
Yeah, 100%. Njoku is a great look. I think he will be better over the coming years, but I don't think the Browns are going to give him a chance to prove that he's any better. Now, maybe with a price tag that he's after getting, they will give him that opportunity, but they didn't sign Austin Hooper to play second fiddle to anyone. And Njoku's been sitting around waiting for a shot for too long. Tagging him made absolutely no sense. We were saying earlier, like, on the open market, he would have been lucky to get $4 million. Like, where were they going with a franchise tag? Are they just hoping someone will come in for a trade for him later on and get a bit of equity that way rather than losing them? I don't know. But it doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it doesn't really, is it? Especially when you got Hooper there already. Unless they just don't trust Hooper anymore for some odd reason that we don't understand. And maybe he's going to be traded out of the Browns. But you wouldn't imagine you'd have two tight ends like that and be paying, as I presume Hooper's on high money as well. Wouldn't he?
I can't remember what Austin Hooper signed for last season. Was it last season he signed? Dan.
He signed. He only signed last year, wasn't he? This is his first season with the Browns this year. He had the great year with Atlanta before that.
Did the Browns trade for Hooper? I can't even remember.
I thought he was a free agent, man. I thought he hit
could have been a free agent either. Yeah, I can't really remember the details of when Hooper went to the Browns. I remember there was hype about it because everyone thought, oh, this is when he'll get unlocked and we'll get a great season out of Austin Hooper. I think he was having a good season with the Falcons the year before, and just never really materialized then for anything in Cleveland.
Yeah, current year he's due $9.5 million in salary in the third of his four-year deal. So he still has 2 years left in the deal. So that makes it even harder.
I think it's just the run heavy 2 tight end sets they like. So it's just more good news for Hunt and Chubb. But while we're talking about tight ends that have been tagged, it'll bring us in nicely into Dalton Schultz also getting franchise tagged. And Shane, you can just basically run down what the Cowboys are doing with Dalton Schultz getting the tag.
I don't know, by Jerry Jones, I think, had a bit too much faith in his son. He's trusted him the last few years to do a bit of cap magic. Like, he's dragged out Dak's contract to the last. He's made horrific decisions. He's talking about trading Amari Cooper now. He paid Amari Cooper insane money at the time. I didn't think Amari Cooper was worth the money they were giving him at the time, but I still think he's the best receiver probably on the team at the minute. Best route runner anyway. And now they're franchise tagging Dalton Schultz, who only for the injury to Blake Jarwin a season ago, we wouldn't even know who the hell Dalton Schultz is. I don't think he's been solid, but he hasn't been a top tier tight end. And tagging him, giving him that kind of money is insane.
Yeah. It's odd to say the least what Jerry's doing there. I'm not sure why the money is going that way at all, but the news of Michael Gallup getting re-signed as well, and then Amari Cooper getting cut, it just feels like a weird road to be going down.
Yeah. Well, I would like to say I did call this. When we went through tie-ins, I said to his franchise tag him. And I said, Shane said all right that they wouldn't, but I did call it. Don't know why, but I called
it. More franchise tag news then. The Bucs have tagged Chris Godwin. This was kind of expected to happen, so I don't think there was any great shocks there. It is it's good news in a way for the Bucs, but now they have to go and get a quarterback because we don't think Kyle Trask is really going to be the guy to step up in Tampa.
Good old Kyle Trask, great quarterback. He was fantastic out of college.
Just for a bit of background, we got a question in, and it was Kyle Trask for some random pick. We kind of looked at it and went, are we actually going to discuss Kyle Trask in this much detail? So I had to throw his name out when we were talking about the Bucs.
I'll be quite honest, I had no idea who Kyle Trask was. So
we did free agency in the last episode of the podcast here, and we went through all the QBs in the open market. They're going to be better than what Kyle Trask is. What's on the market is going to be better than what Kyle Trask is. Kyle Trask is not going to be worth it. I don't think, anyway.
Jamie, just so we'll educate you. Kyle Trask, born 1998, March 6th, is American football quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of the NFL. He went pick 64 in the 2021 draft. He plays quarterback, and his high school was Manville. There you go. There's your...
There you go. Thanks, Dan. So, and for anyone else who did not know, no.
Dan, you may well go in now and explain to him what Manville University is. Because I can tell you, Jamie's never heard of it.
I've never heard of Manville, no. Had you heard of Manville High School?
What a fucking shot.
I just want to say,
Manville.
where did you hear
Manville? The Americans, aren't they? I like this place. There seems to be a lot of men here. What shall we call it? Manville.
Manville.
We didn't actually really talk about Chris Godwin at all there in the news about him getting tagged, but everyone kind of knows that that's what it is. There's nothing you can say about that. We can move swiftly on to what was to be the biggest story of the day yesterday until better news broke. And I was kind of happy that better news broke because it really took the shine off of Aaron Rodgers' news. So the Packers and MVP QB Aaron Rodgers have agreed to terms on a 4-year, $200 million deal. That makes him the highest paid quarterback in the league with $200 million over 4 years. So, Jamie, as our resident Green Bay enthusiast, you can break it down for us.
Well, that 200 million is yet to be confirmed by the sounds of it. But yeah, Aaron got what he wanted. You know, he got paid. So we want that I think we all kind of expected that to happen. I think we all kind of expected Pat McAfee to actually break it, which is exactly how you want your star quarterbacks news to be breaking from a podcast. But you know, he got his shine. He's happy out. I don't think he was really ever going to go anywhere else. So he's a Packers quarterback. He just wanted what he wanted. He wanted to be loved. He wanted the attention on him. We got it now. We'll all go back to all the Packers fans will go back to not giving out about him and loving him again. You know, because he's our Aaron. And Joe Aaron, we love you, really.
At least it's over as well. We don't have to listen to, you know, another 3 months of Aaron Rodgers did this today, which would just drive us all slowly insane. I know it gets under my skin anyway. I don't know about you, Shane.
Yeah, man. I'm just fed up with the Aaron Rodgers noise that came out of Green Bay last year. I think I'm one of the few who don't think they should have kept him there. I think they did what they did to Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers by drafting Jordan Love. I think the Packers is a great organization. They know what they're doing, and they've showed it through consistently being one of the best teams in the NFL. And now it kind of feels like they've been held hostage by Aaron Rodgers, and the Packers fans panicking. A lot of them don't remember that they did this 20 years ago to Brett Favre. It makes no sense. You're going to go out. Yes, you got out of hell this year in the cap. But next year, the year after, where are you going to be with Aaron Rodgers? Especially if the money isn't going to go up the way they're talking, it might not go up now anymore.
Yeah, you know, I think their problem was they expected Jordan Love to be a lot better than the quarterback he is. Like, there is no way they could go into the season with Jordan Love as their number one quarterback. He's not that player. He hasn't progressed on as good as everyone thought he would progress on. So
I think they traded up to get him, and then, you know, really pissed off their franchise quarterback in the process. The front office kind of had to take their lumps here and just, you know, like Shane said, Aaron Rodgers had them over a barrel, so it was write down the number, write down the amount of years, and we'll sign it. Essentially, is what happened here, I think.
Oh, totally. But and when you get to the next big news, we realize kind of how much the Packers could have possibly got for Aaron Rodgers, which could have rebuilt an entire organization. You know, which probably would have been the smarter thing to do.
Yeah, they traded him. If they traded him when they made the Jordan Love pick in the first place.
Just even now.
Yeah. Jesus, even now. And I reckon I know what you're going with here, Jamie. I reckon Aaron Rodgers, he would have even went for more. I know he's older, but I think he would have went.
Oh, totally. Yeah, that's what I mean. You know, when you see how much they got more.
He wouldn't have gone for more, lads. How long did he have on the contract? Did he have a year left on his contract?
No, he was out of contract.
Yeah, so it would have been just sign a new contract with someone else to be a free agent, essentially.
Yeah, I imagine he probably would have retired, to be honest. I think there were these two options: re-sign with the Packers or retire.
Oh, I'm pretty sure someone would pay him a load of money to go and live somewhere sunny.
You probably just made a podcast.
Yeah. For the other fantasy options in Green Bay, it's good though because it's consistency, and at least then we know what the Green Bay offense is next year. Now we know there will be points there to be had from Devontae Adams, who we will get to later on in the news section, and Aaron Jones, and they might even go and draft a receiver and, you know, get an actual 2 for this team. That brings us nicely now to the absolute bomb that exploded on the NFL yesterday evening when we all We all got the absolute shock of our lives, and we had to see that Russell Wilson had been traded to the Denver Broncos in a blockbuster trade, which involved multiple players and multiple picks. I think it was 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, a 5th-round pick, Drew Lock, Noah Fant, and there was a defensive player included as well, though I can't remember, for Russell Wilson and a 4th-round pick. So, thank God they got that 4th-round pick back because, the trade would have been completely unbalanced without it.
Talk about getting put over a fucking barrel.
Seeing as your opinion seems to be nice and fresh on your QB here, Jamie, you can start us off on the Russell Wilson insanity that ensued.
That's insanity. Like, I don't know where the Seahawks going with this. They've got absolutely nothing from this at all. With the Bears, Drew Lock? Well, Drew Lock's not going to be your quarterback. Why is Drew Lock in the trade? What? And who else was it? Noah Fant as well.
Yeah, I'll try and pull up the actual trade here so we're 100% correct. I can't remember it all. I do remember it was Noah Fant, Drew Lock, the 2 firsts, the 2 seconds, and a 5th and a 4th were exchanged. I can't remember the defensive player, though. Let me look that up while you talk me through Drew Lock trying to rebrand his career.
It was Shelby Harris, so it's a defensive lineman.
Shelby Harris, okay.
Yeah, so
there we go.
Yeah, I think now, to be honest, it was just Russell Wilson had just fallen out with the organization, and it was just, let's see what we can get, but let's get him out of here. It certainly wasn't. Oh, Russell, we're going to get as much as possible for you. You hold off. We'll see if we get a good deal. Like they were getting nothing out of this. I can't see a benefit, to be quite honest, from the Seahawks side of things. For the Broncos, though, this is a fantastic trade. Like, that catapults them straight up. Like, they have a very, very decent offense now.
They're a competitor now on offense, in my opinion. Like, if you have Javonte Williams, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, we don't have Noah Fant anymore, but you have 3 capable receivers there who you've paid. You have Javonte Williams, maybe re-sign Melvin Gordon, and your offense is good to go. You can compete with that offense, and the defense is, I think it was top 3 last year. I could be mistaken on that, but
yeah, you would think that they really were only a quarterback away from being a playoff team at the very least. So I'd imagine a lot of money's gone on Denver for the Super Bowl now.
Shane, are you happy to see Russell Wilson go to Denver? I am, because, being a Cardinals fan gets him out of my division. I don't have to cry every time I see that figure 8 now for the rest of the season.
Look, I love Russell Wilson at the Seahawks. Himself and Pete Carroll, I thought it was a great combination. I like the hookups that he had with DK and Tyler Lockett. He was missing a tight end, or all right, for a while. We know he used to like his tight ends. But Russell Wilson was the Seahawks for so long now. It'll be weird seeing him in the orange Denver. But the move looks like it is going to end up well. But the Seahawks' offense, minus a QB, looks really good. But what I can't remember is where did Denver finish? What is the pick that they have in the first round? It is fairly early, isn't it?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I think Denver were kind of mid-table, weren't they? I think they kind of did.
Because
they did all right.
Know this year's draft class of QBs isn't that strong, and I'm wondering how far will one fall. Like Willis is looking like he could be a legitimate QB maybe, and I'm wondering, did they trade for a guy who's got to see, can they get up and get a guy like him? Because he's got good escapability, he's got great legs, and he throws a decent ball. He could be, like, with the 9th overall pick, could you trade up and get, maybe the Jets is 4 or the Giants 5, guys who aren't going to trade for guys who aren't going to pick QBs?
You'd need to get ahead of Houston and possibly Detroit. Jacksonville won't take a QB, obviously, but Jacksonville will probably be looking to trade out with that pick anyway, I imagine, and get a haul. And the Seahawks do have a haul now.
Yeah, so like, could we see that situation? But see, I don't know. Is Willis going to go number 1 overall? Like, I don't know. Do Detroit take him anyway? I think they've got Goff. They've the big deal with Goff at the minute. His contract is still fairly big with them. I don't think they take a QB either.
The other option you have there is the Seahawks have now walked their way into an absolute armory of picks, and with Deshaun Watson's pending cases on Friday, what are the odds that the Seahawks turn around and say, "Here's 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick. We'll have Deshaun Watson, please, and we'll keep rolling."
But see, is Watson's price still even that high? That's the other side of it I'd look at.
Yeah,
like Houston have made it clear they're not going to play him, and he doesn't want to play there. Yeah. So, are they going to get the value for what the player Watson is?
Yeah, Jamie, any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I agree with Shane. I think the only way you're going to get value of this is if they do somehow manage to get Malik Willis. It seems to be the only decent quarterback in that draft class, but it looks like the Seahawks have kind of missed a step, because reading earlier that they got kind of a similar trade from the Bears last year, so they could have potentially even, if they'd done a year previous, they could have drafted a good quarterback. They could have potentially had Justin Fields in their quarters now,
Thought you said a good quarterback.
Yeah, a good quarterback from last year's class.
Well, you know what I mean. Like, there was a good set of quarterbacks there last year. There isn't this year,
well, they were all drafted highly, but whether they were good or not is still a question.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
I'd say General Mills has probably been the best one so far, and was he even good?
He seems okay, but okay is not the level you need to be if you're going to win Super Bowls.
Yeah, well, let's hope Trey Lance explodes next year and gives us all the fantasy goodness we can find out of him.
Yeah. The other thing that really surprised me with the Russell Wilson trade is where he went to. I always thought when he was going to go last year, when he was going to go from Seattle, it would be to like a big city destination, like a big popular American place like the LAs or New York, somewhere along those lines. But he's gone to Denver. Denver, nothing against it, but it's not New York or Los Angeles or San Francisco. It's not like, oh, this is such an upgrade. You've traded cloudy and wet for high and humid.
You might like that mountain air in Colorado. It might be a nice change for him.
Yeah, but I can't imagine the missus
Denver,
like
doesn't
it. Oh, she's not going to want to. I thought she was a big driving force behind that the last time, but she was, sick of Seattle, wanted to get out of there. I thought that was a big thing with him trying to leave, but then they go to Denver. I'd have rather stayed in Seattle.
Yeah, I think the let Russ cook movement might have had a bit to do with it. Like, he might have been promised, that he'll be able to do what he wants in Denver. Who's the OC in Denver at the minute? I couldn't even tell you who's on that coaching staff off the top of my head.
No, and we did talk about this earlier in the series. But we have terrible memories and we do not care.
Pat Shurmur is currently the OC in Denver.
Ah, yes. Good Pat.
It doesn't really scream inspiration, but once you have a Hall of Fame quarterback, maybe you can get things going in that kind of realms.
Who it's great for is the guys like Jerry Jeudy and Tim Patrick and those kind of guys. Russell Wilson is a guy who will throw people open. He will make plays, and he's always done big things with a good running game behind him. That was part of Seattle's DNA, was the running of the ball. When they were winning, it was Marshawn Lynch in the back backfield. So Javonte Williams must be ecstatic as well that he's coming. Like, it's a good trade for Denver. I like it, even though they gave up a lot. I still like what they got. Russ has got we're seeing quarterbacks play on now for so long. They've probably got a guy for another 8 years if they want them at a top level.
Yeah, no, it's like for Denver, they went and got their franchise quarterback, and they're so hard to get that I don't have any problem with what they spent. They did spend a lot, but I don't have any problem with it. I do feel sorry for DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett on the other side, who have just lost their best friend in Russell Wilson, essentially at quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in big trouble now.
But you could see Seattle, like Drew Lock is not going to be starting. You could see Seattle picking up someone off the free agents list. Like, I could see a Cam Newton there or a Teddy Bridgewater going there. You could see someone like that been there for a year.
You have an obsession with Cam Newton getting a job.
Cam Newton needs a job, man. He needs another chance in this league.
Please hire him.
You should be Cam Newton's agent. You should be straight up there getting half of this man's fees. Like,
I love it, man.
You want a quarterback? Get Cam Newton.
Yeah. Pushing Cam Newton to everything.
All these GMs are just in a bar trying to like enjoy their life, and it's just Shane randomly walking up to them. Cam Newton, get him.
It's like in Talladega Nights where they put the big fake Newton sign over the car. The Cam Newton sign, and it's like, this sticker is really inappropriate, but I do love Cam Newton.
All right, we'll move swiftly to the Chargers. I know they didn't tag him actually. The Chargers and wide receiver Mike Williams reached agreement on a 3-year, $60 million deal that includes $40 million guaranteed. So Mike Williams got a serious deal, getting $20 million getting $40 million guaranteed on a 3-year deal. So $20 million a year for Mike Williams.
Yeah, for him. Fair play to him. So Mike Williams is a great wide receiver. He deserves to get paid. He seems like a good guy.
Do you have a bit of resentment towards Mike Williams? I think I remember you had a bad fantasy season with Mike Williams last year.
I did, but this just means that I'm just going to trade away Keenan Allen now at this point. So Actually, the two of them. Anybody want one?
Who are you going to take as your keeper in that league? I can't even remember who you had in that league.
Probably Kyler Murray.
Does that mean Aaron Jones will be on the open market?
I think Kyler Murray, Aaron Jones. They're both very annoying.
They're both very annoying.
There's only one man that I could keep.
Jamie picks his keepers based on how annoying they are to him mid-season.
My entire team was so annoying last year. Aaron Jones is a fantastic running back, but with AJ Dillon there, he just keeps taking points from him. And I feel like they're just going to split it even more next season. So he's not. I don't think he's much of a fantasy option, to be quite honest. But and Kyler Murray's just throwing ties out of the plan left, right, and center. He's nearly turning into Aaron Rodgers at this point. So he needs to calm himself down.
Yeah, I was thankful for all the news breaking yesterday, so we didn't have to talk about Kyler Murray anymore this week. But so that's why I'm moving back to Mike Williams. Shane, what's your take on the Mike Williams news?
I like him, man. Look, as Jamie said, Mike Williams, I think he's a good receiver. I think he showed last year, especially fantasy-wise, to people that it's not just a Keenan Allen team. Mike Williams was putting up the same points as Keenan Allen was. If it wasn't Keenan Allen didn't have a 20-point week, Mike Williams had one. If Mike Williams didn't have one, Keenan Allen had one. They're both great wide receivers. I do think, though, for a guy who is still classed as the wide receiver tutor, 20 million was a bit much, but fair play to him for getting it. No issues with that. I'm happy out for him. I think the Chargers have locked up a really good wide receiver for another couple of years.
Yeah, I think they're going to pay him that much money. He's surely a fantasy option now for next year.
Oh, yeah.
As long as he doesn't do that same disappearing act he did on the back half of last year where he came out hot fire for 5 or 6 weeks and then just, stopped playing football for the remainder of the season.
Yeah. I think they kind of got caught out as well. Everyone kind of knew he was such a threat and then they just started covering him.
Oh, if only it was that simple. Just put a guy on him. It's fine.
Grant. Football's a simple game, Dan. Just mark your man.
Yes, let's listen to Jamie's tactics on how to play the NFL.
Mark the man.
Jamie's playbook. You'll see Jamie on the sidelines of the Super Bowl now next year with a bit of gum in his mouth, a big massive headset, a cap on, just there chewing the gum angrily as defenders come off. Mark your man!
Throw it straighter. Why aren't you throwing it straight?
He'll do the Bielsa system by it'll be man marking boys. Everyone has their man.
It's like watching an under-14s game of Gaelic football. The Packers have now officially tagged Devontae Adams. I don't think Devontae Adams is going to be very happy about this, but he's going to be a very rich man. Back to our Packers fan, Jamie, because, this is just Packers hour.
The Packers hour. Yeah, so we all kind of expected that to happen, I genuinely think he's part of the Rodgers deal. I think Rodgers is like, right, bring back Adams, I'll stay. Which then means I cannot wait to see how they actually work out this cap, because I can't work out this cap, and I don't understand where they're going to get all this money from. But they seem very sure that they're going to get this money from somewhere. I just don't know where, So I really hope someone breaks it down at some point, because I just don't know what they're going to do. It's like to play Monopoly, and just like, right, every time we pass go, we'll just pick up 20 million. Here you go, Devontae. Away you go. But that's not playing Monopoly, so it doesn't work like that.
So how does Aaron Rodgers end up in jail? What's he going to do?
Yeah.
He should already be arrested, man. He just robbed the Packers.
Aaron Rodgers is sitting there. Oh, I have a hotel on that square. Oh.
That man, Aaron Rodgers is the guy who buys the last two properties at the very end, right before goal, and just pray you don't land on them. But then when you do, you go bankrupt.
Every time you roll the dice, you're just counting and hoping they land on that square. Many a game of Monopoly won by that square.
Oh, I tell you, it's a tactic, man. Get the light blue ones and then get the dark blue ones at the end. That's the tactic. Nothing else on the board.
Don't give me in them waterworks. Them things are useless.
No, I don't want them by. Take a few train stations, all right, maybe.
For the actual fantasy options on the Packers, again, we kind of briefly touched on it earlier. It's just status quo, so everything should be nice and rosy for Green Bay next year, fantasy-wise. There's a couple of other small bits of news here, like Josh Gordon's re-signs for the Chiefs. That's nothing major. The Titans signing outside linebacker Harold Landry to a 5-year, $87.5 million extension with $52.5 million guaranteed. So that's a nice little haul to be taking in there. The Seahawks have informed 8-time All-Pro and Pro Bowl linebacker Bobby Wagner, a franchise icon, that they are releasing him. So, the Seahawks really are clearing house here, and it looks like they're going to hit the rebuild button. And then moving on to our final bit of fantasy news early there. The Colts are trading QB Carson Wentz to Washington for a package of picks that is thought to include 2 third-round picks. So, ouch for Carson Wentz. He has now got no value at all. Shane, what do you think of the Carson Wentz going to your division there in Washington? Are you afraid of seeing Carson Wentz returning?
Are you serious? Man, literally, they could have just not put Carson Wentz out last year and just snapped the ball to Taylor every snap. That's how useful Carson Wentz was last year. In the great words of Patches O'Houlihan, the man was as useful as a cock-flavored lollipop.
I just don't understand why Washington would even want him.
Carson Wentz is brutal. Is like Washington are in this situation where they got rid of Haskins a few years ago. They got in Fitzmagic. He got injured, and now they're looking around and going, "Who could we get?" And because they're terribly run organization, they didn't even think to look for Cam Newton. They got Carson Wentz.
Cam Newton. Exactly. He was right there.
Right there.
Right there. Yeah, it makes no sense. It just makes no sense. So then why you wouldn't? But he seems to be such a popular quarterback to these organizations at times, isn't he? He always gets a move. And it's always like, yeah, he deserves like a package. It's like, why are you giving Carson Wentz a package? Just if you want to trade for him, that's it. No,
he's had a first round pick traded for him last year. Now he's had 2-3 traded for him. This guy's like the Nicholas Anelka of the NFL. He's just gonna have a massive amount of transfer fees racked up for him by the end of his like career.
You did not compare Carson Wentz to Nicholas Anelka. Nicholas Anelka was actually decent at one point in his life. Carson Wentz had one good season. Anelka must have had about, I don't know how many good years, but there were a lot of them.
They were never good. They were just like, Anelka's there, scored, 12 goals? Yeah, that's an Anelka season. He played for Bolton at one stage, didn't he?
Yeah, Bolton were class before.
They weren't class now, Jamie. Come on.
That Bolton team was unbelievable. JJ and what's him? Man, what's in the back? I can't remember anything. That Bolton team was amazing.
We'll divulge here from the news section and look at Nicholas Anelka's former clubs. So, he went from PSG to Arsenal to Real Madrid, back to PSG to Man City, Fenerbahce, Bolton Wanderers, then somehow got to Chelsea from Bolton Wanderers.
Because Bolton
Shanghai Shanxu.
He was class for Bolton.
You forget how good Bolton were.
Old Kyle had those boys playing some stuff.
They were class.
So he went to Shanghai Shanxu after Chelsea. I hope I'm saying that right. Got loaned back to Juventus.
No, dude,
then went to West Brom for some reason. Went from West Brom then to Mumbai FC. What the hell did Nicholas Anelka do?
See that Shanghai deal, man? That Shanghai deal, he got some money for that. Not like NFL player money, but he got like a lot of money for that. Like top soccer player money for that. Like, and that's insane for China. But that's why China put the ban on all the foreign players coming in. You couldn't have more than like 2 or 3 of them in your squad or something because they were just paying insane amounts of money for useless bastards.
He went to Liverpool on a loan spell at one stage and played 20 games and scored 4 goals. Like, this man played for everyone at some stage. Like,
he just didn't play.
I do take back what I said about the Bolton thing, though. He did get 21 goals at Bolton in 53 games. So yeah, fair dues. That was pretty good.
Right, back to the news. Carson Wentz is useless.
Yeah. That sums it up well. And since
he's not
Nicholas
Anelka.
He's not a okay. I won't compare to Nicholas Anelka again.
That was the whole point. Okay.
Yeah. He's more like a Billy Sharp.
Could we go like John Joe Shelby? But I don't think John Joe Shelby's been to too many clubs. We got to stop talking about. All right. So with Carson Wentz leaving for Washington, that opens up the Colts QB position, and there's rumors flying around the place now that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to hop on the QB carousel and end up in Indianapolis. Would you think that'd be a good fit for Jimmy, Shane? I could get Nicholas Anelka in if you want. Like, you can.
No, but it might be a good fit for Cam Newton. No, look, Jimmy G, it would be a good fit for Jimmy G. They have a great running back there. Jimmy G works best when he's got a good running back behind him and a run game plays, and then he can pass off that on play action. So the Colts would be a good fit for Garoppolo. I'm still sitting on this hill on my own saying Garoppolo is not leaving the 49ers. I don't think they'll get rid of him.
No, they will. I
think he's got one more year there. I think he's got one more year in San Francisco.
Nah, I think they're like cut their ties now. To be fair, he's done nothing for him. No, but he could do
Oh,
really well at the
by
Colts.
nothing, you mean he's done better than Aaron
He
Rodgers
has.
has in the
He
last
has.
3 years?
That man has cost him a Super Bowl, not 2 Super Bowls at this point.
So
Aaron
what did
Rodgers
Aaron
would
Rodgers
never.
do for you?
Aaron Rodgers would never do that. He just wouldn't get there.
So he cost you it then. What are we going on about here?
To be fair, it's the special teams.
Oh my God.
You
Jimmy G.
leave the almighty Aaron Rodgers out of this.
You know that Nicholas Anelka got an 18-match ban at the end of his career.
Oh my God.
Why are we talking about
I just have his Wikipedia page up. An interesting man.
Carson Wentz wouldn't do that.
Brings to the end.
Dan, you're meant to be the host and the mediator of this thing. You're meant to be in control, not the one causing the problems. That's
We're
our
the ones
job.
out of control.
I'm sorry, it's been such a long news section. I don't know where it started and where it ended. I'm just so much NFL news. So it's meant to be the off season. Okay, that brings us to the end of the NFL news, thankfully. So we're going to hop in and talk a few trades that have happened in the league. I'm just going to give you a quick update on the league as well. We've decided to rebrand it, so we're going to call it A1 Fantasy Leagues from now on. It's going to be handier with the website, so people don't have to type in that stupid previous name. We're at League 10 now in the 1QB, and I've also started Superflex Leagues now as an option. So going to keep building all those, and hopefully we'll get up to about maybe 20 leagues by the end of the off season. But we'll hop in then to a trade that happened in 101. And this happened a couple of weeks ago. So it was Clyde Edwards-Helaire for Miles Sanders. And Shane, you had a great comment on this when I put it in the group chat before.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's basically like which type of shit do you prefer? I am sick of this shit, so let me try your shit. See, is that shit any tastier?
I love the way you're talking about eating shit. Like, you didn't say like how it smells or anything. No, you went straight for eating it. Like,
man, when you have those two in your team, all you're going to do is eat shit for the day. They caused me. I had both of them in the fucking league this year, and both of them caused me nothing but pain.
The funny thing about that was, right, this is I drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire the year before, and you were all years, why would you draft that piece of shit? He's so shit. And then you drafted him last year. And I was like, why did you draft that piece of shit?
Because I had a late draft pick. I got him late in the first round. I was like, this man was projected to go like 5th or 6th in our draft, our keeper league. He was projected to go really early, and he didn't. And I was like, if I don't take him and he plays really well, I'm going to hate myself. So I was like, no, I have to take him. It's like damn with Saquon at the 2. When Edwards-Helaire falls to, what was I, 8 or 9 last year? When he falls that late, you have to take him.
Just so everyone has a frame of reference here, the first 3 rounds of this draft were basically gone. So this was like basically the 4th round, pick 9 that Clyde Edwards-Helaire was there. So
yeah,
that explains why Shane had to take him.
He was getting better last year, until he got injured for the 4 or 5 weeks. He's out for a while, wasn't he?
Man, I was injury central. Sanders was out as well last year. The King himself was taken down last year. Yeah, all my 3 starting running backs were gone to injury, and I still only missed out in the playoffs by a game.
Clyde kind of lost his job near the end of the playoffs as well, though, didn't he? Jerry McKinnon had kind of taken all the work from him, so it's something to watch for next season. And then I could easily see the Eagles moving away from Miles Sanders as well, because he sucked all season as well. They were just looking for anyone else to step up.
Yeah, sure. Boston Scott had a good finish to the year, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, so
who was the other one?
Jordan Howard had a bit of a spell as well at one stage, I think. It was.
Yeah, he was pretty good for a while.
Who was the receiving back they drafted as well? They had playing that. They had like 4 backs going at one stage. What was your man's name? It escapes me now, whoever that fourth running back was for the Eagles. But again, it was just you didn't know which one of them was going to appear on a day. I want nothing to do with either of these running backs next season. I might take Clyde if he's super late, but that's about it. He's so uninspiring.
Even these teams in general, though, Dan, like one thing I
You're
learned
trying to tell
from
me
last
Kansas
year.
City don't have a great offense?
Yeah, but like no, not that. It's the fact that them two teams, the way they use their running backs, like they're not running backs you want to rely on. They're just they get changed in and out of downs or plays so often, whatever way you want to put it. The backs are interchangeable in them teams. They each have like three guys who they don't mind putting out in the field. It's not a good situation to be in. And if you're trading Edwards Hilaire for Sanders or vice versa, to have a guy as an RB3, I still think he's too high in your roster. These guys are they're subs. They're guys who should be on your bench.
Yeah, these are guys that are big name running backs in inverted commas for some odd reason, but they are not fantasy relevant whatsoever.
So we got a question into the league through or into the podcast through Twitter. So we're in a rebuild, and he's in desperate need of RB help. He traded T. Higgins for Michael Carter and the 111. Carter is now paired with Montgomery as the two notable running backs, and Gabe Davis takes Higgins' spot as the wide receiver 2. Has 10 picks in the 2022 draft. Do you think it was a good move? Would you guys like to do this trade for that sort of work? You got T. Higgins for Michael Carter and the 111.
I don't know why you put. Yeah, sorry, I was just reading. Takes me a while. I don't understand why you would like put Gabriel Davis in for T. Higgins' spot.
He's just saying there that because he's traded Higgins away, Gabe Davis is now his wide receiver 2, essentially.
Well, that makes it even matter. You know, to be honest about it, why wouldn't you hold on to T. Higgins there? Like, so Mike Carter's one of those running backs too that we were all talking about, but you know, he's at the Jets. He hasn't done anything. I took him to the point last year, and he doesn't really do anything for you fancy wise. He's a good running back. Until the Jets get their shit together, like he's not going to be really relevant to you. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't have taken that, to be honest.
Shane?
No, I have to disagree. I do like that, actually. I think if T. Higgins was your wide receiver 2, I'm always of the opinion, I've said it on here before, that wide receivers, they're too hot and cold for me. Like, even the great Devontae Adams can have a 3 or 4 point week when you're a wide receiver, and someone like T. Higgins can go a week and get absolutely no points. So the likes of Michael Carter, I actually thought I drafted him at start last year and I didn't give him any time. I got rid of him after a few weeks because there was too many guys that were actually doing stuff on the waiver wire. But I regretted it because Michael Carter started getting a few weeks there where he actually had 20 points and he was getting over 10 points at the end of the season kind of consistently. And I think the Jets kind of realized Zach Wilson isn't going to be able to do it all by himself. He's not going to be the big arm that we thought he was going to be straight away. He needs a bit of time. And Michael Carter was a big relief to him last year. I think the Jets are going to focus Michael Carter a lot more on their game plan coming next year. I think it's a good trade for solid running back option for the future as well. This dynasty year we're talking. Carter's only his second year. Best years you're going to get out of a running back. Year 2 to what? Year 5, 6 maybe? So I think it's a solid trade. I like it. Gabriel Davis isn't that bad either. He can pick up. And you've 10 picks. So
I think you're overestimating Michael Carter last year. I just had a quick look up there. He was only over 10 points 4 weeks last year. Everything else was like 6s and 7s. Then he was injured for 3 weeks.
Did he not have one 20-point week, Jamie? I think he had one 20-point week.
He did. Yeah, he had one big week in the Bengals. But that was it, like nothing else.
Yeah, and those 10-point games, they came at the end of the year, did they?
No, they're very sporadic. Very sporadic.
Were they not? They were all after like week 6, week 7, weren't they?
he did okay like from week 8, 9, and 10. So he like 23 points week 8 week 9, and then 14 week 10. And in Miami, he in week 11 he got 6 and he got injured. And
Yeah,
then
so at the end of the season, before he got injured, he picked up.
He picked up, yeah. But
Yeah,
like
so-
but again, he was very sporadic. Like it was 7,
Yeah, but
big, small, big.
But if you look at him at the start of the year, he wasn't getting the majority of snaps. In those games where he scored those points, he was getting the majority of snaps. They started to use him as more of a focal point in the offense, and I think next year that's what the Jets will do with him. He showed he has the ability. I reckon Michael Carter will be a viable option at running back next year in fantasy. I think he will be a good pickup, and I think he could be in dynasty leagues. If startups, he's going to go round 4 or 5 maybe, but it could be that late. Like he'd be decent value, I think.
It's hard with a rebuild because you never really know what you like, where you want to go with it. Like T. Higgins is a good piece to have in a rebuild as well, but you really want just amass picks as well. And then as it gets closer to the draft, start selling the picks off at a higher value and try and get some decent players for your value of your picks, because you can get a pick at the start of the season and you have to give very little for it. But come this time of year when rookie drafts are appearing and everyone's getting excited, you can trade picks for more. Like you can get a Kareem Hunt for like a 111 or a 112 in a fantasy draft, because people are just going insane and they'll just pay through the nose to get these rookie picks because they want the new flash players. So like if you are in a rebuild like that, I would always try and trade for as many picks in 1 year, hold all the picks, and then wait till it's getting close to that draft and just trade the picks away, get vets back in, and be solid for the following year. But that's just how I like to play a rebuild. You can do it loads of different ways.
Solid fantasy wise.
I likes to try and hit on my picks. Maybe it's just a Cowboys pick. No, look,
Okay.
I get what you're saying. I like it as well. Like I agree with you. He's a lot of picks there as well. He could trade them and start building up as well. Get a few solid vets in, but I'm just saying I like Michael Carter as a solid starting option next year.
We'll move on to the next trade anyway, because we're going to keep just arguing Michael Carter for hours. So we have Dawson Knox, the 2022 208, 2022 212, so 2 second-round picks, and Dawson Knox for Pat Freiermuth and Josh Palmer of the LA Chargers. Now, this Josh Palmer news has obviously been a bit tainted since, because Mike Williams has re-signed. So, what do you guys think of that now? Like, this trade was made before Williams had been re-signed.
Hey, screwed now.
Shane?
Uh,
Take that.
Yeah, look, second round picks, they're not really like, you really have to be lucky to hit something in dynasty second round picks, like someone that's going to really impact your team. Now you can always get lucky, but them 2 second round picks, I'd be looking to move them on and see could I get up into the first round. Maybe is there someone who's willing to trade out with you? But Dawson Knox, I think he's good. He had a great year, but I like the Steelers tight end. I like Fairmount. Like I think he's good, man. I wouldn't have traded him for Knox. I don't think you're improving much. And Palmer, as you said, look, Mike Williams signed a deal. He's probably not going to get much playing time, but he still might get on the field. And Keenan Allen or Mike Williams get injured, and he's a viable option then. So, like, look, it's not the worst trade in the world, but I would have kept Fairmount. I wouldn't even bothered trading for Knox.
Jamie, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. Very similar tight ends. Knox is obviously a big part of the Bills' offense at the moment. He was last year before he got to get injured. But even when he kind of came back, he was still Allen was still looking to Firewich is great. He's a very good tight end as well. But I suppose the whole news with Mike Williams, like the Palmer one, is kind of you feel kind of disgusted for him, to be quite honest about it, because it didn't really look like Michael Williams would re-sign, and if he hadn't re-signed, it was a great play. He really threw the dice, hoping that Williams wouldn't really sign out he has just given away a tight end and two second round picks, for two tight ends are very similar.
Yeah, it is like, I don't think the trade's that heavily weighted either side, but it kind of does come down to, do you really prefer Fryermuth or do you prefer Knox? I think at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'd agree with that as well, Dan. It's who do you prefer? You're 100% there.
So this move obviously happened before the trade, because in this graphic we have on the screen, Russell Wilson is still listed as a Seattle quarterback at the time of the trade. So Silvius Beta has been involved in all three of these trades, so has obviously been having a few busy weeks of trading. We'll break it down for you here. So Russell Wilson, the 2022 301 and the 2022 105. So that's a high pick, and they've traded those picks and Russell Wilson away to get Joe Mixon and Matthew Stafford. So basically breaking it down again, Russell Wilson, the pick 105 and the pick 301 for Joe Mixon and Matthew Stafford. Jamie, you go first. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, but it's an interesting one now because Wilson's gone, but I think I still rather take the likes of Mixon and Stafford. You know what you're getting. It's the unknown fantasy at the times it can get you. I don't think Wilson. Well, the high first round as well is interesting, which is why I think he probably took this. Because you're going to get someone good at the first round, fifth pick. But no, I like it. I would keep Mixon then Stafford there. Stafford was he top 5 at least last year. Mixon wasn't too far off being top running back as well. I would definitely go with Stafford and Mixon here.
Shane, what do you think on that? So Russell Wilson and the 301, the 105 for Joe Mixon and Matthew Stafford.
I like the Mixon Stafford side of this, man. I keep saying it with fantasy guys who are good running backs who get 60 to 70% of the snap count, and they're on decent teams or good teams who are going to score a lot. They're very hard to come by, and Joe Mixon is a back on a good team who gets a lot of snaps and can score points, and for me, his value is too high to be trading him away for 2 picks and Russell Wilson. Quarterbacks, you can get away with dodgy quarterbacks at times, but Matt Stafford that he got in return, Matt Stafford was what? I think he was the 4th overall QB last year.
So well, even with the QBs, so just cancel the QBs out, because let's just say Russell Wilson cancels out Matthew Stafford. It's Joe Mixon for the 105 and 301, really, isn't it? That's basically what this trade is. Yeah,
taking Joe Mixon, but I still think Matthew Stafford's fantasy value is higher than Russell Wilson's in that Rams offense. I think that the Rams offense is so good. It's for me, Stafford, even though I wouldn't say he's as good as Russell Wilson, player for player, I think he's in a better setup and a better team. His value would be higher to me.
It's kind of interesting to think as well. I'm kind of with you. I'd lean on the Joe Mixon side, but say you're a team that you want to rebuild a little bit. You have Joe Mixon there. You want to get a high draft pick, and you want to get. I know Russell Wilson and Matthew Stafford kind of have a similar age profile. It's not the end. You're not going to get much younger there either way. But if you want to try and regenerate your running backs a little bit, maybe you get the 105 and the 301. That 301 isn't really much to me because you're probably not. There's a high chance you'll miss on that pick. I'd say that the 301, you've probably got a 50-50 chance at best of getting a usable fantasy asset. So you're really looking at the 105, trying to get younger there. So you want that 105 to be a player you can draft and get 10 years of work out of. So really it just comes down to, are you willing to roll the dice giving away Joe Mixon to get younger on your team and use that 105 as a foundational piece? It's
Joe Mixon isn't even that old.
He's coming onto the second year of his second contract. It's just with running backs, you're always a little bit more afraid that the Todd Gurley situation can appear and all of a sudden you have nothing. But I think you definitely do have 2 years of top Joe Mixon left.
Yeah, look, that Bengals offense is not going away anytime soon.
Yeah, like I just took up the average draft positions there for next year. We'll see what they're going to raise, but like take those a pinch of salt, obviously. But like Joe Mixon is averaging at 8, in the first round, and like quarterback pick 8, yeah. And
I'd probably definitely take Joe Mixon at pick 8. That sounds like a bargain to me.
Yeah,
and Wilson's ahead of Brady, Wilson's ahead of Stafford in the draft position as well. So
I expect that to skyrocket as well because everyone will want the new hotness of Russell Wilson in Denver.
Yeah, but obviously take that with a pinch of salt.
And plus, we don't even know who the 105 really is at the minute, but that'll obviously all change when the NFL draft happens and we can get a good look at that. But the next trade actually happened after the news. So Mike Williams and the 312 in the 22 draft for DK Metcalf. That trade is just so many moving parts in it from yesterday. What do you think of it, Shane?
Mike Williams and a pick that's not going to do anything for DK Metcalf.
Pretty much.
That man is insane.
Yeah, but you don't know who DK Metcalf has next year, so you could have a nobody trying to get the ball. Like you could have Geno Smith throwing the ball back to Metcalf again.
Yeah, and as long as he can throw it long enough, DK will get on the end. The man is like lightning running down the field at 220 pounds. He's just going to get better and better. DK is a serious option, man, and even if you lose him for a year or two of production because Russell Wilson isn't there, DK Metcalf is still really young, and if it's a dire situation in Seattle, he could move to a really good team in a couple of years. He could even demand to be traded halfway through this season. He could be gone at the end of next season. We don't know. He could be gone in the morning for all we know if the Seahawks are rebuilding massively. I wouldn't get rid of DK just because Russell Wilson is gone. I would hold tight and see what happens. And if I still wanted out once the season was getting a bit closer and you kind of knew a bit more about the quarterback situation, then I could trade. And I could agree with it then. But right now, DK is a number 1 option. Mike Williams, to me, is a number 2 option. It doesn't make sense.
Right now, he's not a number 1 option because you don't know what he's an unknown. But I agree with you. I would not have traded him away this fast or the way it seemed what's happened. But Mike Williams is a number 2. He is not getting the snaps off of Keenan Allen. That's not going to happen. That's why. But he was paid a high amount of money, so they obviously see something in him. Unless they're going to trade away Keenan Allen. Never going to happen.
I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're happy with their options.
That's definitely never going to happen. But John, while Keenan Allen's there, you're in a split. So you take the guy who's going to get you targets, and the guy who's going to get you targets and favors Metcalf, depending on the quarterback. But I wouldn't have been that fast to trade him off. That was very much Wilson's gone. Let's give it all my Seahawks. Don't do that.
Yeah, it happened extremely quickly after the Russell Wilson trade. That's all the trades and all the questions we've had for today. So I think that brings us nicely to the end of our Nicholas and Elka fan session.
And Cam Newton.
and Cam Newton. And Shane's bid to become Cam Newton's agent.
Cam, heels up.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll sign off there, guys. Thanks for all listening. And if you want to get a place in the league, just get onto me on Twitter and we'll get you sorted. We're probably all going to go off and watch the Champions League. PSG and Real Madrid are throwing money at each other right now. So have a good night and say good night, folks.
It's like, no, I have more. No, you have more. No, wait. I mean, I have more.
Money fight.
Talk to you later, guys. Have a good night.